What is going on, guys? Seed here with another Nostalgia Blast episode. Obviously, we can't title it 5-minute boss battles, but if you guys have been following the channel, you know we have been revisiting some of the 90s classics. And guys, last night, I got the furthest I've ever gotten in Streets of Rage 2 in, oh my god, in probably like, how long has it been? Like 20-something years? Guys, we're back in the 90s and Streets of Rage 2, guys. Core memory unlocked right here. As you can see, I'm facing off with Shiva as the sub-boss, right, in the final stage of Streets of Rage 2, and last night was absolutely intense. I'm down to like 2 lives, as you can see in the video, right, and the core, I'm not joking with you guys. You know the phrase, core memory unlocked, when something from your childhood just like gives you like a whiff, and when something right now in the present day gives you that whiff of something from your childhood, oh my god, like if you smell something and then bam, transferred back into a different decade or decades, right? And facing Shiva, right? Just the music that was playing, right? When you're getting up to like when you're getting up that elevator, so freaking intense. So this was last night. This was literally last night. Right now it's Tuesday, April 11th, so Monday, April 10th, right? Dead of night, facing off of Shiva, and I could not remember the animations or the tempo that you need to play at, right? But guys, then you get to Mr. X, the final boss, right? And I'm down to like one life, and I am just freaking out at this moment in time, right? Because I'm like, what were the strategies? Like, I'm trying to like recall, like in like, it's been ages since I faced this boss, right? And I'm trying to like recall like the core memories. What's his animations? How does he move in game, right? Where should I, should I even engage with the thugs? My god. So game over. And that was last night, and I felt so bad, right? I just felt like a knot in my stomach after that. Why? Because guys, we have been trying to do the long play attempt in Streets of Rage 2, and we've whittled this down, right? This attempt, we've whittled it down to 56 minutes and 33 seconds. Obviously, the full runtime of a Streets of Rage long play is kind of like around, I want to say, the 1 hour and 10 minute mark, right? Approximately 1 hour and 5 to 1 hour and 10, right? If you can play it straight through in one go. Usually that's how you had to play games in the 90s, especially for the Sega Genesis. This is before memory cards, right? So the only other way to skip to the levels were cheat codes, and that's why we bought the magazines, right? And it's all good times, right? We used to buy all the Game Shark magazines, the Game Informer magazines, right? You name it, right? That's literally from that generation, and that was the only way. That was the only way we were able to skip levels, right? Somebody would have to give you a cheat code or something like that to literally transport into the final levels, right? So you can beat the game. This is before memory cards, right? That's just how it was, right? And it was the limitations of the hardware. And guys, Streets of Rage 2 kind of knocked it out of the ballpark when it comes to pushing what a console could have done at that period of time for a console, right? Not for a PC. PC gaming, even in the 90s, they were onto like 3D gaming, right? Very early on, right? But it was like the infancy of like 3D gaming, right? So what you're seeing right here is like the highest levels of 16-bit gaming, right? So guys, I'm telling you right now, like we're skipping through like the first 2 levels, right? Because I pretty much cleared these levels without like incurring any damage whatsoever, right? Just a hit here and there, right? But it was like, lock the. If you've been following the channel and any of the Streets of Rage content that's on here, Streets of Rage 2 content that's on here, right? The easiest way to defeat the majority of enemies is just to lock them in place and just hit them with a snap jab over and over and over again, right? You just lock the character in place, the character model in place, and that's pretty much it. And that's That's true for maybe like 70% of the character models, right? 70 to 80%. But then you have the character models that some of the bosses that have the animation that'll break that'll break that snap jab up, right? And interrupt the natural rhythm, right? So a lot of Streets of Rage revolves around playing at the correct tempo, playing at a high enough rhythm, at a high enough pace, right? And the main strategy, like if you guys have been following the channel, you know I always talk about the strategy behind clearing out these levels, right? And it's basically to keep all the enemies on one side of the screen, right? So in 2D gaming, in the 2D gaming realm, right, you kind of want to do that, right? You kind of want to keep all the character models on one side of the screen so you can just, you know, clear them out, clear out all the enemies, right, in one go, right? You can double up, right? They all incur, like, if they're all, like, occupying the same space or close to the same space, you can hit, like, a sub-special move or a special move, right? And you can clear out multiple enemies at the same time, right? Which is good times, which is exactly what you want, right? And right here, you're gonna see we're just clearing out stage 2, right? As you can see, I've got 5 lives, and I'm trying to be as precise as possible, but when you're seeing this attempt, right, take place, when you're seeing this is like the first attempt of the day, right? On Tuesday, right? So Monday night, I got all the way to the final level, right? I was like, okay, we need to break apart from the monotony of FIFA 23, and we need to play some Streets of Rage, right? So, just remembered how to do that throw move this morning, right? So, basically, you hold down on the attack and then hit the jump button, right? So it's those 2 buttons. And then you throw the knife or throw the bar, right? So good times, right? Just learn a distance attack, right? So, oh man, Streets of Rage 2, right? So this move is the spammy move, right? But it's the move that uppercut, that ground uppercut. You wanna do that move like 90%, like 80% of Streets of Rage 2 is just spamming and cheesing that ground uppercut or holding the enemy in place. So we're skipping over just for time's sakes, right? As you can see, there's no damage on me, right? We've got 5 lives, right? And we're about to get the 6th life, right? And the strategy, like once you remember the strategies for taking out the bosses, the end of stage bosses, right? It's pretty much straightforward, right? So you want to avoid that kick from Jet, right? That ear kick that he gives you, right? And you have to strategically time when you pick up the turkeys, right? Obviously, that's obvious as hell, right? So getting used to the rhythm, like I got hit right there, right? But getting used to the rhythm in Streets of Rage 2, it's kind of like the you know, and just timing the animations correctly. It's just and the patterns of movements. It's just it's difficult at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's like second nature, right? So obviously what I wanted to do to defeat Jet as fast as possible was just to occupy the complete opposite end of the screen, right? To trigger the animation where he goes for the flying Superman punch, right? So once he goes for that Superman punch, you just keep jumping and doing that jump kick, right? And you just repeat, right? And then he gets pushed back, right? And then it triggers the animation process again, right? So that's what you want to do. That is what you want to do, right? You don't want to do anything else, and it can seem tedious and it can seem monotonous, right? Because it is this game is a beat 'em up game, right? So it can seem monotonous, right? But you gotta do the basic things correct, right? But obviously your attention span goes, and you get and people want novelty, right? Even in their movements, right? And it's the same thing with FIFA 23. It's the same thing with all video games and just life in general, right? Everyone loves to switch it up, right? Doing the same thing over and over is just, you know, like any form of monotony can just like kill you. It just kills you over time, right? So obviously I could just hold all the enemies in place. This is where I'm going with this, right? Obviously I could just hold all the enemies in place with that stupid little snap jab, right? It's not stupid, right? But you understand what I'm saying, right? I'm diminishing it in a way, right? Because most gamers, they'll just like look at it and the term that they use is you offer no variety, right? You offer zero variety in your movements. It's just the same cheesy gameplay over and over. It's gamer speak, right? So gamers, once they see that snap jab over and over, they know it has to occur, right? But again, they're just gonna look at it and be like, your gameplay is kind of like boring and it's not nuanced, right? But obviously, you gotta stay to the basics if you want to clear Streets of Rage 2, right? It's literally that, right? The reason why I use the term cheesy, right? It's from Marvel vs. Capcom days, right? Anyone who used to play the old school games, the arcade versions of the games, right? And that was like a big thing growing up for me, right? All the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom. What was the name? It's just Marvel vs. Capcom, right? I can't remember. Was it Marvel vs. Capcom 2? I'm trying to remember. Which, as you can see, right? Like I'm blanking right now, right? I think the arcade version that everyone used to play when we would come home from school, the arcades, right? Was probably Marvel vs. Capcom 2, right? Yeah, I think that was the going arcade game at the time, right? And it was a good, jeez. It was so freaking cool, right? What was the third one called? I'm blanking right now. Yeah, it's Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was a game I loved, right? But I grew up on the older versions of the older iterations of the games, right? And you had to have a lot of coinage on you, right, to even engage with some of like the pro level gamers in the arcades, right? Back when you're coming home from school and things like that. It was so freaking cool. Like it was so cool. Like I would just like walk past like all the old school arcade stations and just like, you know, like you just wanna like you just want to be there, right? Because it was such fast tempo, high tempo gaming, and it was like just the gaming subculture, right? The pro level subculture at the time, right? So as you can see, we're on 7 lives, right? And I am playing the best I've played in Streets of Rage 2 in quite some time. I'm loving it, guys. I am loving how I feel right now, right? Playing this game, right? And then I was still just waking up, right? So I started incurring damage in silly ways, right? Because I was focusing too much on clearing the levels fast and not clearing them as clean, right? So what I mean when I say that is in this go around, I started getting sloppy, right? As you can see, I was at the point where I had 7 lives, right? I had accumulated 7 lives. I'm holding the enemy in place, but I start like it was around this point, right? When I got up this morning, like I was still like groggy. I was groggy as hell. I like just had my coffee, just went outside, got some sunlight, got some vitamin D, but I was still like breaking up the cobwebs, right? I wasn't firing correctly, and my reflexes were, you know, like they were going in and out, and that's when my decision making, right? And just like I'm gonna use a math phrase, right? But just in terms of like order of operations, right? But we're gonna use it for a gamer speak, right? So I started like engaging with the wrong enemies, right? From an operative standpoint, I started engaging with the wrong enemies, right? And not clearing out the enemies that should have taken a higher priority on the list of clearing off the screen, right? So that's when the lives started. I started bleeding lives, right? And in Streets of Rage 2, you don't want to bleed lives, right? You want to have as many lives as possible when you get to the ending boss, right? As you can see, last night I got all the way up to the final boss, right? In like a single play, and then after I finished off with Shiva to face off with Mr. X, guys, it was not fun, right? Why wasn't it fun? Because like you're facing the final boss with like 1 life, right? 1 or 2 lives, right? Which is not ideal, right? Obviously, you have continues, right? And I put the continues in the like I didn't want to like the way I like see here, right? I wanted to engage with this enemy. This enemy I've cleared off the screen so many times so easily, but I started getting impatient, right? And that kind of like rushed, kind of like impatience. When that started happening, I started bleeding lives, and it sucked so bad because it's like you can't do something so basic anymore, right? Like that's the mindset, right? Like something that was so basic to you, right? Like making your coffee in the morning, right? Like somehow you've forgotten like the most minute, the easiest steps, right? Not minute. So you forget the most simplistic steps, right? Because you're trying to, say for instance, you're trying to put the coffee creamer in before you even boil the water, right? Yeah, for the coffee, that's like like step number 3, right? Boil the water, throw in the instant coffee, right? If you're making instant, right? And then throw in the creamer of your choice if you use creamer, right? Or for the people who use black, right? You pour in the coffee before, like you boil the water, right? Simple things like that, right? You don't want to be doing simple, stupid things like that, right? So, yeah, I started bleeding lives for like no reason. It was like I got up and I was clearing the 2 levels just fine, and then when you get to, and then when I started advancing, I started making stupid little errors, right? And you don't want to bleed lives, right? I must reiterate this. You don't want to bleed lives when you're getting up to Mr. X, when you're getting up to the final boss. You want to have as many lives as possible, right? Because she was a little tough to beat, and Mr. X, I don't know if he's tough to beat or just get by the time you get there, right? Well, guys, I don't want to spoil too much, right? Because obviously I'm recording this in post-processing, right? So, you're just gonna see how I clear out Zamza, right? So, Zamza became second nature to me as well, right? And it comes down to like learning the like timing the animations of your enemies, right? Once you can time the animation of the bosses, right, you have a much higher probability of clearing the stage without bleeding lives. Unfortunately, I went from 7 lives to -2, right? So 7 lives to 5 lives, right? And that's when I just started going to myself, oh no, what am I doing, right? Why am I rushing? Why am I rushing in this manner? And just not being a little bit more methodical and more patient, right, in clearing out the enemies, right? And sometimes it's not just that. Sometimes the randomization of the movements of the enemies, right, on the screen, right? And like, here's what I mean when I say the order of operations, right? So you're gonna want to engage with like the thugs, but you have to clear off the thugs with the knives, right? Because they're the ones leading in terms of like they're the ones leading the timing on the screen, right? They're kind of if you don't clear that knife, right, they're just always going to target you and knock you off your own rhythm, right? When facing the enemy, right? So you don't want that happening, right? And right there, you see, like I just there were just like little tiny lapses, right, from engaging and knowing when to engage and knowing when to evade, right? And I wasn't doing that well, right? And it was really frustrating, right? Because it happens to everyone. Obviously not just to me, right? It happens to everyone, right? You get the little lapses in judgment, right? That often occurs, and it kind of just, like it kind of like it's just something that you end up kicking yourself for in hindsight, right? But it's just the way your attention goes from time to time, right? And I'm probably like thinking about like 40 other things as I'm playing these bosses, right? But there, you see, easy enough. You just lock the character model in place. Snap jab, snap jab, snap jab. Obviously, I mix it up with the end with the little ground uppercut, but it's 2 cheesy moves back to back, right? But you clear them off the screen. And here's what I mean when I say you lock them all in place, right? This is what ideally you want to do, right? Obviously, the person came to my left. The enemy came from my left and broke up the animations, right? So it's not good times, right? That's just not something you want to see happening, right? So I'm down to like 5 lives and I'm like screaming, why am I bleeding so many lives? Internally, I'm just screaming. Mentally, right? Obviously, I'm not screaming out loud when this is going on. I'm actually super quiet and just paying attention, like in detail. I'm paying, I'm like paying attention to like not bleed that 5th life, right? Because I don't want it to. I don't want to bleed lives, right? So then that stupid animation happens when you end up picking up the pipes, like you just cycle through the pipes because they're both occupying the same space on the screen, right? So that was a silly little thing that just occurred right there, but it happens too, right? Little frustrations that are kind of like natural to only 2D games, right? But yeah, these two chicks, right? I made the mistake of not having them on the same side of the screen. All I had to really do was lock them in place, right? And unfortunately, they were moving in a manner in which I kind of like mistimed it, and bam, I get shot and I get electrocuted, right? I get hit with that electric whip, right? But lock this one in place. Still have 5 lives, but it's just, you know, like I feel it. I feel like I know when I'm not playing clean, right? And right now I'm just definitely not playing clean, right? Like all the cleanliness that was in like stage 1 and stage 2, right? It's kind of like going out the window. Obviously the game, as you progress through the stages, it gets progressively harder, right? As you go through the stages, it's progressively harder, right? So you want to just be as clean as possible going forward, especially if you bleed lives, right? So lock Big Ben into place. Snap jab, snap jab, snap jab. Obviously we're just gonna snap jab. And I'm gonna take a breather, right? Let me just make sure this mic's on. Yeah, it should be on. Let me double check. So I had to double check really quickly that the mic was on, because like the volume, like the mic is extremely like sensitive, right? So I had to, just a quick aside, I had to double check that you know, sometimes the knob can seem like it's off or turned down all the way, like muted, but it's literally at like maybe like 0.5 or like the 1, right? And sometimes it can scare you. It's like, did I just like speak for like 20 minutes with that mic not being on, right? Like imagine, can you imagine, right? And that's happened to me before, right? So that's just a little aside, right? But still super hilarious, right? So we're down, and this is actually one of my favorite parts of this stage, right? Just going down, locked in this room, right? Locked in the elevator, right? Going down. It's really freaking cool, right? Yeah, I think it's just a scenery, right? And it's just like a neat little fight club in an elevator in an enclosed space, right? But obviously, like I said, the strategy is always, what is it, right? Keep all your enemies on one side of the screen, lock as many in place, and just hit them with the snap jab or the uppercut, right? The ground uppercut, and those are like your keys to victory, right? In this part of the stage, right? And they just drop, and this is not what you want, right? You don't want them. You want to be on one side of the screen. You want to lock the character models in place. Right, so there you go. Right, I got right there. Right, and I started advancing and not paying attention. You know, too much offense, not enough defense. Right, but we clear out the elevator and we are heading to the final part of this stage. Right, so we get the rest right. And I had to take the life. Right, so Abedid, right? That's his name, right? And I don't know if I cleared him correctly. Let's check. So here's what I mean when I say when you can lock the majority of your enemies in place with the snap jab. He's one that can break apart that animation, right? And that's when you have to start using your specials, right? And I don't want that flaming punch, right? I was using that, right? But then, right, I was able to trigger the animation where he's like trying to get that run going, right? And it's just flying kick over and over. It's monotonous as hell, right? He's gonna try to jump, but essentially you're locking the boss, right? To do a specific animation, right? You're triggering the AI to do a specific animation, right? Which makes it easier to clear the level without incurring too much loss in lives, right? But we're down to 4 lives, guys. 4, right? And I'm like really annoyed that I've bled 2 lives, right? Because you're saving up all of your lives for the ending, right? And you want to make the ending as easy as possible, right? But that comes down to just practice, right? With anything, right? But Streets of Rage 2 is just, you know, we're playing this for nostalgia, right? I'm not trying to suck the life out of it, right? Guys, I'm telling you right now, like, this brings me back. It brings me back. It's a core memory, the whole freaking game. Why else would I be playing a Sega Genesis like 2D game, right? Outside of this era, right? It's nostalgia. It's just straight up nostalgia vibes. It's just straight up good time. Obviously, it pulls good time, like good memories in my memory bank. I don't know about you guys, right? But if it's a new game for you guys, I would say give it a go. If you got like an hour and 10 minutes to kill, right? This is probably one of the best hour and 10 minutes you're gonna have, right? Especially if you're into like casual to hardcore gaming, right? This one varies, right? It's more like from the casual to hardcore spectrum. I would probably say this is like it starts off at like like in terms of like difficulty, it starts off at like a 2, right? And then it ends up being 5 to a 6, right? Which is maybe like a 5.5, right? And yeah, that seems about right. And it's all about, and then as you gradually get better, it's probably just gonna be like a straight like 3, right? As you gradually just like learn your emotions. If you were to like master the game, essentially, right? It would just like be like a baseline 2, 3, right? But if you're like a newcomer to the game, right, max difficulty is probably gonna be like 5, right? 5 for 5. But it's a game that you can easily just pick up and play. You can pick it up and play it, right? It's difficult enough. It's not too difficult. It's difficult enough, right? And you just gotta know. You just have to go in with like really cool strategies, right? You have to go in with like really set strategies and time, and you won't know until, like, for any of the newcomers, you won't know until you face the bosses how you're going to operate the game, right? Because you just have to whittle down to, you have to like learn to hit markers, where to hit, and how to move in the game. But once you get the hang of it, easy peasy, easy peasy, right? And this, obviously, I'm playing the emulated version on the PlayStation 5, but it is a Sega Classic, right? And the emulated version is available, right? And not an ad, right? But yeah, I just picked up the collection, the Sega collection, and guys, it was like the best thing I did, right? Because this was like the best, one of the best. It's one of the like the go-to classics when you want to relive your life, right? And yeah, so there you see, right? We've got 4 lives, we've got that turkey there, but yeah. This sucks, right? This sucks that I'm like this is what I'm thinking as I'm going here, right? As I'm looking at the turkey. Guys, I accidentally picked up the turkey. Can I scream? Right? So once I accidentally picked up that turkey, I had to make sure I didn't put no damage here, right? The turkey is the thing that you want to pick up at the ending, right? Or like midway point of facing the boss, right? To just bring it back to help clear that stage, that part of the stage, right? So we're on top level of the ship right now, and yeah, the scenes, man, the 2D scenery, right? And we're 27 minutes into this video. 27 minutes, right? And we have another high flyer in the vicinity, right? You have to clear them off the screen, right? But these little guys are gonna torture me, right? Make it that much harder for me to clear off the screen. So what you want to do is you want to lock that position in place, right? But he went for the Superman punch as I was clearing out the screen, right? And here's where I'm just like, oh my god, I just incurred a hit, right? But obviously, I told you what the strategy was for this mini boss, right? So this one, he's titled Mock, right? So he's got like the book here, right? And yeah, you just want to trigger that animation. That you want to trigger him to do the Superman punch, right? So you get to the opposite, and I tried to just get far away, and I paid the price for it, right? But short-term payment in terms of the price, but long-term, you trigger that animation over and over and over again, and just flying kick, just a flying kick. People, all I had to do here was just flying kick, right? And yeah, still going. So we're up to, like, the names get so funny here, right? This dude's name, like, he hits hard, and he has his own little combo that catches you off guard, right? He has, like, he takes down a lot of your life. But his name was Calm, if you were paying attention, right? In the green, right? And these ninjas right here, they move super fast. And they have a couple of attacks that can actually just take down your life in ways that just annoy the hell out of me, right? Yeah. So any other day, I would take them out easy enough, right? But for some reason today, they were giving me much more trouble than usually they don't give me any trouble. Usually I just lock them into place, get them all on one side of the screen, but for some reason I wasn't locking everyone into place. I wasn't keeping everyone on one side of the screen, especially with the ninjas. And the ninjas move, they weave in and out, right? So locking them into place is a little difficult. And once you do, it's easy, right? But guys, I'm down to like 3 lives, and I'm just like screaming right now, right? So I'm bleeding lives. But Balloon, right? This enemy's called Balloon, right? This boss, mini boss, right? And I really didn't want to get touched by him. Locked both of them into place, and all I had to do was just stay here. And I'm gonna take a breather. Let you guys just watch. This guy. This enemy, Arbear, right? You have to use your specials on him. You gotta use your specials. There's no other way, right? And his punches are just insane, right? And that jump, like, I have not mastered this boss, right? So I had to pick up that turkey immediately, right? I had to pick up that turkey immediately. You guys, we're down. Oh, we've got 4 lives, right? The lives in I got an extra life, right? And anytime he locks me into place, I just try to use his special, right, to break up his animations. But he's really difficult, and that jump, right? I started trying to engage with the mini enemy, right? And I paid the price for it, right? So he knocks down that extra life that I just got, right? And I am seething with rage, right? Because he's hitting me, and I'm not timing the animations properly. And then I panicked, and then I used my special, right? I started panic playing, right? And after I lost that life, and I ended up using that insane special, which takes down my health on a regular enemy, right? And now look at my health bar, and I'm getting just beat to shreds, right? Not cool. And you want to use that ground uppercut, right? You want to just time the animations to use the ground uppercut, but I have not mastered this particular enemy, right? So I break up his animation, hit him with my special. When he locks me, I lock him back, right? And bam, take him out. Stage 5 clear. 2 lives remaining. Obviously, we still have the continues, but I didn't want to get to the part where we're using the continues. But this sucks. Like, as I'm playing this, as I'm progressing, I'm like, man, am I gonna be able? Like, this is my mindset right now. Am I gonna be able to clear, right, this video game, to clear the final boss? Like, that's what I'm thinking. It's the only freaking thing I'm thinking. Can I clear this final boss? So that ninja, right? So as I'm saying, right? Look, they can evade, and you really just have to just have that discipline to lock them in place, right? And it sucks. It sucks that I incurred as much damage as I did at this point. But we're clearing the levels, right? We're clearing the levels. We're getting to the point. And this is by no means a perfect run. This is not a perfect run. This is the most unclean run that I'm showing you guys, right? Early in the morning. This is like probably like the 4th thing I did today, right? Like literally the 4th task executed, right? I was just like, get up, right? Get everything started, get some sunlight, beat Streets Rage. Beat Streets Rage, so obviously I have much more serious things that I have to take care of, but in terms of like leisure time, Streets Rage 2. Had to beat it. I had to beat it. Right? If I did it as a child, why the hell am I struggling with it now? So yeah, 56 minutes and 33 seconds. Guys, I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves for as long as possible. Right? guys, by the way, likes, comments, subscription, notification bell, they all help keep the channel going. And guys, you can check the catalog at any time for any of the Spooky Season Specials games and the 5-minute boss battles games. I do feature this in 5-minute boss battles, but we can't title it a 5-minute boss battle because does this seem like 5 minutes to you? Right? No, so the tail end, right? The opposite end of the 5-minute boss battle spectrum is the nostalgia blast, which is essentially just long plays, right? Titled long plays. That's literally it, right? Of my favorite games, right? And you guys are just gonna enjoy it, right? Or try to enjoy it, right? And hopefully understand why I keep saying I like to keep things short and sweet, because the feedback I always get from people is that you're too long-winded, right? I'm like a freaking long play. Like, my conversational behaviors are not usually geared towards brevity once you get me going. It's usually just, you know, straight conversational play. But hopefully you can understand that you're having fun, right? We're having fun with 2 freaking lives. 2 lives! You know how frustrated I am? That I'm at this point of the stage, I've only got 2 lives. You know how clean you have to play with just 2 lives remaining? Right? It sucks. It really, really sucks. Right? Because the enemies get progressively harder, especially when you start seeing the purples on the screen, right? If they hit you, you incur more damage, right? Essentially. Right? But we locked this version of the chubby boss, mini boss in place for on, right? And easy enough, right? And then I accidentally tried to rush, and yeah, that nearly blew up in my face, right? Because ideally, like I said, okay. Take a breather. 36 minutes in. Guys, the motorcycles are here. Right, so obviously you want to kick them off the motorcycles, right? And as little damage as possible. Sometimes it's unavoidable, sometimes they just jump on the screen. Right? Yeah. So essentially, you want to just trigger the correct animation. Guys, look at this. Look at the lack of health. Right at the beginning, you can catch them all. You can catch the 2 ladies in the same spot. It makes it really easy. But for some reason today, I was a little too aggressive. Moving forward, right? Not playing as defensively flush to offensively engaging, right? Too engaging. And now we are down to 1 freaking life. You know how badly this sucks that we're down to 1 life. So back to the discipline, back to the basics. Just snap jab. 1 life remaining. Guys, I'm so annoyed, right? And I'm just like screaming, where's the hell, right? Even though I've beaten this, past the stage already, I've already forgotten where the turkeys are, right? So, Souther is the name of this boss, right? It's just like Zamza, just much harder, right? With much more life. And what you want to do, like right here, I started like panic playing, right? But I had like I was like firing on the correct tempo, right? And I took the turkey right there, right? Because I didn't want to bleed any more lives. And guys, round uppercut. I don't know what happened, but I was just on tempo with him. That was like the first time since I was maybe a child that I was able to clear that boss that easily, right? You don't even want to take out the high flying boss. You just want to take out Souther, right? Which is essentially just right there. Damn. I gotta take a breather. Jeez. That's 38 minutes of speaking. 38 minutes, right? Okay, so buffet, right? Obviously, this is going to be a little harder, right? But essentially, same strategy, same tactics. Lock him into place. Snap jab, snap jab, snap jab. I'm telling you, it can seem very monotonous, right? But when you're playing it, it's just like a cool challenge, right? It's just like old school arcade vibes, right? And you want that. You want that feeling sometimes, right? It's like Cheers, right? You know the Cheers theme song. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. I'm singing is not my forte. We're not gonna attempt to sing that theme song. Right? Okay. Alright. So, there we go. Right? Okay. Let's know your limitations. So anyway, yeah, taking out Donovan right there, and I've got a cough. Hold on. So we're up to 3 lives. We get that 1 up right there, right? And keep them on the same side of the screen. That's all you gotta do. But the ninja's hard. He's hard to. So this boss, this little mini boss is called Nola. She's called Nola. But essentially, you just want to lock them. But Kanzu over here is tossing me. Why are you tossing me, bro? So that nearly backfired in my face. But that turkey was. Thank God that turkey was there. So anyway, so we get the harder 2, right? It's essentially just the harder 2 of those, right? So accidentally picked up the dagger, right? Did not mean to do that, right? And that just screwed up the rhythm of everything, right? Throw her, hit him, very cool. Was I trying to throw it? Yeah, I think right there I was trying to throw it, right? And could not, like, in terms of like quick draw, right? Could not throw that faster than she was able to extend that with, right? So, sucks, but I'm down to 3 lives, and he is giving me work because I'm trying to engage when I'm not close enough, right? I'm out of his range and I'm trying to engage. That's just panic playing, people. Panic playing sucks, and this is probably one of my favorite points in the game, right? The turkey was right there, so I'm happy. Right, and anytime I get to this part of this stage, right, in Streets of Rage 2, right, when I was a kid, I loved it, right, because you're moving up the elevator, that diagonal elevator, and you're facing off with so many freaking enemies, and they're really easy to clear. But it's just like, you know, like the scenery, it just feels like you're progressing. Like you feel once you hit this part, and I had to hit pause right here. Because the runtime was at 45 minutes, and I didn't want to lose, right, lose anything going forward. I had to make like a new recording, right, on the PlayStation. The limitations of the console video capture is locked in at like maybe like once you do the editing, it's locked in at like 60 minutes, right? So just for safety purposes, I paused the game and just that was like at the 45-minute mark, right? So yeah. I think it was like the 45-minute mark I logged in anyways, right? And just go, right? So, yeah, and obviously, in post-processing and editing, I took out a lot of frames from the first 2 stages. And it was just for time's sake, right? Just because if you saw the previous long play attempt, you know how easy it is to clear, right? It's still, you know, it's pure. It's not like you're missing anything, right? You're just if you've seen the previous long plays, you know how easy it ends up being, right, to clear the first 2 levels, right? And then after that, it takes a little bit more time because you have to learn much more advanced animations, right? Or what seems to be advanced animations. You have to learn more from bosses in the screen, right? So I got Griffiths right there. The green flying enemy is what we're gonna call him, and then these dudes just drop. And again, guys, the bleeding lives issue, right? And it's this is, look, you don't want this mess to happen, right? You want all 4 of these enemies on the same side of the screen, and just timing issue. It's just a timing issue, right? And they have the upper hand because it's just the way it turned out, right? So now I'm down to 1 life. I've got my continues, but this is not ideal, right? It's not clean by any means, right? And it's just annoying the hell out of me because I'm right here. I'm rage playing. I'm rage playing, people, right? Because I'm down to like 1 life and I'm panic playing. I'm panic, and I'm just like I'm incurring more damage than I should have incurred, right? And I'm not playing as cautious or conservative as I should have been playing, right? And yeah, I'm down to 1 life. and I'm being held into place, and it's not ideal. Right? It's not what you want to happen. You want everyone, I must reiterate it because you can see it right here, right? If you get them all on one side of the screen, you can just spam that ground uppercut or spam the snap jab. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. So I just quickly continued, right? And had to use a continue. I did not want to do that. I wanted to save the continues or the final level, right? At least, right? Or not use them at all, right? So, whatever, doesn't matter, we are freaking finishing Streets of Rage 2 today. That's the mindset when you're seeing this, right? That's the mindset I had to go into, right? But I'm playing too offensively wild, because I'm saying I dodged a bullet right there. I dodged a knife right there. But yeah, you see? Block, and we're taking him out just ever so, and then I accidentally hit the wrong animation, right? Not cool. Just not cool, right? And I'm just like bleeding health. And why on earth am I bleeding health here? Rage playing, right? That's what ended up happening. I was rage playing. It wasn't really rage playing. I was just like, you know, I think in Call of Duty, like the equivalent in Call of Duty, right? The old school Call of Duty games, like Modern Warfare, the old school Modern Warfare games, right? Like when I used to, the joke was that immediately after someone would kill you in Modern Warfare, right, on the screen, you'd immediately seek out that enemy, right, and just like ignore everyone else on the screen, right, and you just end up rage playing to get like a payback, right, and it was just something that you did, right. So I've got 2 lives, right, so we're moving across like decades, right, as you can see. Right, I don't know why that just happened, right? But I learned how to throw the knife. I learned how to throw the knife, right? Relearned how. Oh yeah, God. Oh, talking so much. Yeah, but I relearned how to throw the knife in this literally like first thing, right? In stage 1. Right? And then once I relearned how to do that, right, just like a new distance, right? New distance move unlocked. Right, and then taking out these 2 robots, it seems difficult because they hop around like crazy, but they're actually really easy, right? They're actually really easy to just ground hit, right? And particle and molecule already gone. Stage 7 clear. 4 lives, people. 4 lives. We're on 1. We've already used 1 continue, but we're in stage 8 with 4 lives. This isn't ideal. You want more lives. I'm gonna tell you right now. Like, you need more lives. And look, the priority on the screen, right, in terms of like order of operations, right, in this context, you need to take out that knife, right? Take that knife out of that person's hand, right? Because they're always going to be targeting you, right? And they're going to disrupt your flow, right? You don't want that, right? So I incurred some damage, but I took him out as fast as I possibly could. And Bear Jr. Is just learning his animations and moving far back, right? And I did not want to incur any more damage. But he's way harder, right? He's the hardest version of this boss, right? So it's just like keeping my distance, not incurring damage. But he has that. He has a good cycle of animations, right? He has a good cycle, right? And it's just like keeping your distance from him, right? And that lunge is just destroying me. And then he has that combo right there, and it just annoyed the hell out of me. I'm at 4 lives, right? And I used to continue, and I think at this point I forgot like as I was playing, I had forgotten that I had I forgot how many continues I actually used, right? Because I was so locked in the game, right? And the way I was playing was like, if I lost 1 life, right, in my head I was like thinking to myself, I lost 2 or 3 lives, right? So like I kind of use that mindset sometimes, right, to make sure I end up clearing the levels with more lives, right? So at this point I thought I had no continues left and just 4 lives. Seriously, I sometimes trick myself, right, when I play these games, right, to make sure that I end up catering, right, which is a temporary mind trick, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? To make sure you cater correctly for the ending stage, right? And Yeah. Even though I see, like for example, even though I see 4 on screen, I'll play as if I only had 1. Right? And eventually, you're just like, you're ignoring the 4, right? And you're thinking way differently, right? And sometimes you can trick yourself, right? But you just have to remember that in reality, objectively speaking, right, you still have a continuum game, right? But at this point in this, at the stage, as I'm going up the elevator, I'm I'm playing like I'm at critical health and down to like 1 life. That's how I'm playing. That's how I'm playing. I don't know if that's relatable or not for you guys. I don't know if any of you guys ever behave in that manner when you're playing games, right? But it's a cool little mind trick, right? It's a cool little trick to make sure that you end up, yeah. So anyway, right? Just spamming that ground attack, right, for Nail, and he's definitely insanely hard. And yeah, I was scared to face him, right? Because yeah. Anyway, guys, we're going up the elevator for the final boss in the final stage. Do I seem happy? If you can't tell people, I'm extremely happy. Right? But I was like nervous facing this enemy right here because you can incur a lot of damage, but I got it down to like a really good rhythm, right? I got that rhythm going, right? And it was just like, stay here, just stay right here, do the same moves, keep repeating the move. And he moved, right? And I tried to lock him, because I forgot. Boom, he can do that, right? But then, luckily, I took him out. Guys, 3 lives remaining, and I'm playing as if I have no continues left. So, as you're seeing this, I'm about to face Shiva again, right? So last night I faced Shiva for the first time in forever, right? After I got done with FIFA 23. I went straight to Streets of Rage. I was like, okay, you know what, we need to break up this play. And we were on Streets of Rage 2, and it's definitely doable. And I remember some of his animations, I don't remember all of it, right? So I was just like, okay, you know what? I know how tough Shiva is. Shiva will knock down my lives, right? It's to be expected, right? And it's just like learning the blocks. Shiva's just like the ultimate martial artist, right? And very, very agile ninja. Oh man. So in any case, right, he's got that this little dig moves into the head, right, where he locks you. It's so cool. Like, I love his animations. I love his moves. I wish he was like a playable character in Streets of Rage, right? I really do, right? He has that cool flying, like everything about the aesthetics, right, of him, right? He's a red belt. It's really cool, right? He's got his gi on. It's just a really cool boss to face, right? Mini boss, right? So Shiva is there, and as soon as you finish with Shiva, look at that up kick, so freaking cool. But I take out Shiva. Guys, we are here at Mr. X, and I'm playing as if I only have 2 lives remaining, right? 2 bars, right? And guys, he has the machine gun. And I couldn't remember his animations because I only faced him briefly, right, last night, right? And I couldn't remember how he moves. I couldn't remember which enemies to target on the screen. But then you're just like looking at the screen, you're just like, okay, he's shooting his own people. He doesn't care. He's a cutthroat, right? He's a cutthroat businessman. So he's shooting his own people. He does not care. So I just used my special on him, right? And right around here, my hard drive space in the editing program kind of went awry. So guys, I had to clear out the hard drive really quickly and save the project. But guys, yeah, this guy's a cutthroat. He's ready. Mr. X is ready to kill all of his goons at a moment's notice in order to take out Axel, in order to take me out, essentially, right? And guys, we're here, and I'm still under the impression, guys, I am literally under the impression that I've only got 1 life remaining, right? And that's it, and I'm about to die again, right? And right when I took that hit, right there, guys, I wanted to scream. So once more, guys, likes, comments, subscription, notification bell, they all help keep the channel going. Is the game over? Guess what, guys? I completely forgot. It was at this point that I completely forgot that I had an extra 3 health bars in that continue. And guys, lo and behold, we accomplish what seemingly was something that was only accomplishable when you were a child. Guys, we took the ultimate blast from the past, nostalgia-esque trip to the 90s, and we finished out Streets of Rage 2 in this Nostalgia Blast episode. Guys, I had to put my name in, and there's the ending cutscenes that I remembered growing up. Guys, core memories unlocked, and there you have it, guys. The outro right there. My alarm is going off right now. Insane. Guys, on a quick side note for any of my FIFA 23 players, Park Ji-sung, that Fantasy Foot Heroes Park Ji-sung, was upgraded today to an 89. Remember, he was an 88 rated player. I was an 89. So in the next video, we're going to test him out, right, in that team. But look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Guys, good times. Everything about gaming in the 90s in one episode, right? 1 hour. I think this took me like 1 hour and 10 minutes, or 1 hour, like around like 1 hour and 7 minutes. So remember the runtime of this video, right? In order to fit everything in, including my failed attempt last night, I did have to clip stage 1 and stage 2 of the long play. But if you want to like get an idea, like if this is like your first video, like watching the Nostalgia Blast, the long play attempt for Streets of Rage 2, you can instantly go back to my previous video and see how we clear that. It's not too different. The only thing is, this time around, it was a lot easier for me. Obviously, it's going to be a lot easier, right? Because a lot more is in your muscle memory. And that's like the final animation, right? One of the final screenshots, right? Where they're looking up, right? And it's just the coolest thing. Guys, this has been Sid. Like, comment, subscription, notification bell, they all help keep the channel going. Hit that subscribe button. It's vital. But guys, yeah, peace, love, all the blessings to you and yours. That's the ending shot that I remember. Core memories unlocked left, right, and center. Hope you guys enjoyed this, right? I certainly enjoyed making this. Seriously, this was the most fun I've had in months playing a game. Cheers.